everyone, and welcome down to episode 135 of Australia's highest ranked photography podcast, the Down South Photo Show, with me, Brendan Waits, here in Ocean Grove, Victoria, Australia, and the guy on your other screen or in your other ear, if you are listening to the show, it's Cam Blake in Hobart, Tasmania. Good evening. Hello, Cameron.
Good evening. Hello, Brendan. Are we no longer the most loved podcast?
We were last week. Now we're just the highest ranked. The two are mutually exclusive. You look like the Edge from U2 in that.
Yeah, I do. I'm trying to pull it off.
Well, you did play guitar, so
yeah. No, I can actually. I don't think I know any U2 chords.
Oh dear.
Yeah. What's in this? What's in this water?
Right.
Yeah, it's a bit chilly down in my little office today.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I need a haircut, and
no, it's a good look for you.
Just putting a cover on it, to be honest.
No, that's good. I like it. Thanks to everyone who has subscribed, followed along, liked, shared, all that fun stuff. 885 of you on the YouTubes. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you very much. We are trucking towards a magical milestone of 1,000 subscribers. So if you'd like to help us out and hit the big subscribe button down there, that'd be awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, we're 115 people away from reaching 1,000.
That's right. And they said we'd never make it, and we may not yet.
There must be 115 people out there who haven't subscribed.
There must be.
Who can just click, even just for a couple of weeks, just click the button and unsubscribe. We just want to see
Cameron. Nobody likes desperation. All right,
please.
That reeks of desperation. Just stop it.
All right, it's fine. Okay.
It will organically grow to, and I told you. 15th of February 2025, it'll naturally hit 1,000. So.
Stick up your ass. I don't care if we make 1,000. Don't care. Do whatever. Yeah, unsubscribe, subscribe. We don't care. We're going to keep talking shit to each other anyway.
That's right, exactly. And putting it out on for the world to see. Black and white comp, which just feels like it's been going on for 3 years, but
drum roll.
It has been.
And the winner is.
We need another week.
We need another week. You know why? Because we've just spent
arguing over who's going to win it. So
the last 15 minutes before we came on air, we've been arguing about who the winner was. I've chosen a winner, and Brendan's not a fan.
I've chosen a winner also, and Cameron's not a fan. So
Oh, where'd you go?
I've just disappeared off. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Yeah, my dog has just interrupted
as he just chewed the
hang on, it's making all kinds of noises.
Right, we're not stopping. This is going to air like this with your dog molesting the camera.
Dude, what have you done? Hang on,
please hold. We'll be back right after this message from our sponsors.
Sorry for the minor technical issues there, folks. That by the wonders of editing, that's been cut out, that bit.
Can we please leave some of that in there?
We can't leave any of it in because the language got a bit blue.
I was going to say, leave it all the way in until the language started kicking in.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to open a can of mercury cider, and I'm going to figure that all happened.
Right. Okay. So black
and white.
All
I've done just then, thanks to my dog knocking out my cable for my camera, is make a heap of work for myself. Thanks, buddy.
Yep, that deserves a drink. So getting back to where we were at black and white competition.
Yes.
We need another week because you and I can't come to an agreement.
We cannot agree on anything.
And I threatened to out Brendan on the photo he didn't like. So we
can't be doing that.
We need another week. So you'll have to wait, folks.
That's right. That's a cliffhanger for next week. We haven't even started the show yet. We've already got a cliffhanger.
This is fantastic.
Thank you for your patience, everybody. Cam, backgrounds. Let's go.
Look, he's in serious mode now.
Who's first?
You go first.
Okay.
Yes.
Today's covering is brought to you by my remote control for my air conditioner. Where's that, Cam? You know.
It looks like the pondage at Mount Beauty.
Correct. That is the pondage at Mount Beauty when I was up there a couple of weeks ago scouting for BFOP with Charlie Brown. Great spot. What a great spot for photography. I mean, the reflections for one, but what is actually being reflected, in other words, all the mountains, Mount Bogong, etc. Yeah, awesome spot it was dead calm when we were there as well. So a few clouds rolling back.
That's a cracker spot in autumn as well.
I could only imagine
because they're all deciduous trees. They're really quite nice.
Would be lit up. P.S. With that image, just for those of you playing along at home, I actually desaturated it just for a bit of fun. Not completely.
There's a bit of color in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I took the saturation slider way down in this case because I wanted to have the trees just looking really stark and dark and black. And yeah, it just made a really cool reflection. And I didn't even clone out the sign. I thought about it, but no, left it there. Thought it added a bit of a human element to it.
I do. And you know what? That's one of the photos that works when you split it in half. Some photos you don't usually put the horizon through the guts of it, but these kind of ones, it works really nicely.
When you've got reflections like that, they tend to work when you've got a split horizon in the middle. Where are you coming at
today's
from?
screen coverage is brought to you by my Sony TV. I am coming from the deep southwest of Tasmania, taken from Lake Pedder, which is down a beautiful road called the Red Knoll Lookout Road, I think it's called. Takes you down to a beautiful lookout, and you get 360-degree views around the lake and the mountains down there. Anything you notice about this shot, Brendan, that might be a bit different to your shot?
Well, I already know the secret behind this shot, but I don't want to be a spoiler.
Oh, I was going to let you be a spoiler, but that's okay.
Oh, Cameron, is it shot on film?
It is shot on film, Brendan. Jeez, you're bloody smart. So this one was actually shot on film. I think it's on the Kodak Portra 160 ISO film.
Lovely film.
It's nice, yeah. And again, we got those beautiful light rays. I did a shot of the digital version as well, and we put them up before to compare. And you can definitely tell the grain of the film versus like no grain of digital. So
there's grain, there's contrast changes. I don't know, not so much dynamic range changes, but that's what it sort of comes across as. But it's probably more to do with the contrast of the film, right?
I'd say so. Yeah.
Did you see, speaking of film, that video I sent you in my shop of my film display?
Yes, I did. Film of your film display.
I've loaded up on film. Latecomer, of course, because this film's been popular again for ages, but just got a good range of film. I bought some film for my box brownie.
Really?
120 roll film. I'm going to feed it through my box brownie and see what I can get. I'm going to take it to the beach or somewhere and see what happens.
Take it to BFOP and do some behind the scenes stuff.
I probably will. I want to put a test roll through first, make sure it works. So
make sure there's no light leaks. Do you know how to use a box brownie?
YouTube has been my friend on that one because I wasn't born when box brownies were a thing. So
you're not far off.
No, I wasn't. No? Well, there was still a few kicking around, but they weren't really being used.
No.
Well, the cool thing,
1920s or something? 1920s?
I think they first started in the late 20s, I want to say, but became really popular through the 30s and 40s. I heard something once that there was more box brownies built than Volkswagen Beetles. I'm pretty sure that's right. So which is a lot.
That is a lot. Hey,
but the cool thing about my box brownie, though, can I just say before we move on, my box brownie was made in Melbourne.
In the Kodak factory?
Yes.
My uncle used to work in the Kodak factory.
He might have made my box brownie.
He's not that old. Okay. So the box brownie, for people listening at home, you can shout at the screen or in your car as you're driving along. When did the first box brownie camera get released? What year? I'll give you 5 seconds.
Are you asking me?
Oh, anyway. Okay. What's your answer, Brendan?
1928.
Well, incorrect. 1900 on the dot.
There you go. There you go. 1900.
1900.
The camera that took photography to the masses.
And you know how much it was when it came out?
Oh, God. 1 piece of 8.
1 piece of 8. It was actually called the box brownie dollar box camera. It was $1.
So it was $1.
In today's equivalent, it's $37.
And you can buy some Kodak cameras for $37 still. How about that?
That's pretty good.
So they've kept up with inflation. Love it.
Yeah. Cool.
Shout out to Ondina, who came into the shop during the week and said she loved the show. So as I say, if you pop into Ocean Grove Camera and Photo and say hi and say you like the show, you get a shout out. So there you go.
Question for you. Everyone that comes into the show,
I'm getting lots of questions.
Yeah, you're going to get a few tonight. Anyone who comes into the shop and says, I love the show, do you say, but are you subscribed?
No.
That's why we're not on 1,000 then, isn't it?
But like I said, it reeks of desperation. And
Yeah,
we
I'm
don't need that.
desperate. Hey, Ondino is a Portuguese and Italian name. There you go.
Right.
Translating to little wave.
She did say it was Italian when I spoke to her.
Yeah,
I originally thought it might have been a bit further north than that, but no, it's Italian.
Italian.
There you
Cool.
go.
Hey,
Next
I
line's
want
for you.
that's me. Yeah, I wanted to thank everyone who jumped onto my website and bought the Aus Geo calendar. Um, they are pretty much sold out. I think at time of recording, we've got like 2 left of my supply.
Awesome.
So if you did still want one, you're most likely now going to have to go through the Australian Geographic website and purchase that way. But thank you, everyone. I had about 30 or 35 that I was allocated.
Question without notice.
Yes.
If they buy one through Aus Geo and they put it in the post and mail it to you, will you sign it for them?
Oh, why would they do that?
Why not?
That seems like
Collector's item.
Yeah, but then I got to send it back out to them.
No, they'll put a return envelope, postage paid envelope in there.
I was thinking about that. Like, where would you sign it?
It's on the front.
The front cover?
And they'll put it away in a drawer and say, remember that Cam Blake dude that was super famous back in the day? He signed this calendar for me.
And the person they're talking to are going to say, who? And what?
That's right.
Yeah, no.
Let me guess, you will do it, but they have to subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, if you want a signed calendar, subscribe to the bloody channel.
Very good. I like it.
Anyway, but thank you, everyone. So
yes, thank you. So black and white comp will be decided next week. Just in case we didn't mention that before, what are our main topics for discussion? Cam, would you like to, since that's your subject for discussion?
Yeah. I thought I'd go through like the second topic is going to blow up, so we'll hold off on that. People will need to hang on to that one.
People have looked at the time codes already to see.
Yeah, people look at the time codes like, oh my god, they're going to talk about that. But I just wanted to talk quickly. I've had a few people over the last maybe month or two since I've done a few camera talks and a few workshops and stuff like that. There's something that I teach on my workshops, which is a really easy method of trying to remember how to set up what I would suggest is a good shot or a good method to get a good shot in most cases. And I call it CATH, C-A-T-H, like Kath and Kim, but I think that was with a K, maybe. I can't remember. I never watched Kath and Kim. Did you watch Kath and Kim?
No, not really.
No. Anyway, so CATH, C-A-T-H, and they just stands for 4 different things. So first thing is your composition. You know, a good shot needs a good composition. Don't you chime in? I know you're dying to chime in. A good shot requires a good composition. So without a good composition, your photo is going to be quite boring and a little bit lacking in any sort of interest. So that's the C in CATH. The A is the aperture. So this relates to not only landscape, but a lot of other genres of photography. The aperture is what controls your depth of field. So, you know, how much depth of field you're going to have in your shot, whether or not you're shooting a portrait of someone beautiful with a nice face and you want to blur the background out, or whether or not you want a big depth of field for your landscape. So you need to get the right aperture to get the right shot. The T is for the time of day. So I think this is crucial for landscape photography. And again, most genres of photography for outside, you need to be there at the right time of the day. Like, for example, my shot behind me, you know, you don't get that shot in the middle of the day. It's got to be late afternoon or early morning when the sun's sort of going down over the lake, breaking through the clouds. So time of day is really, really easy. I think it's one of the easiest things you can get right. And I think we said it on last episode as well. It doesn't have to be sunny weather or anything like that. It can be moody weather. It can be dramatic weather. It could be snow. It could be anything. But the right time of day will give you some great mood and light in your shot. And then the H stands for histogram. I think things I see too much is that people grab their camera and they take a photo. I don't know if one here. They take a photo and they bang, they go, oh, no, it's too dark. And they just keep shooting. Oh, it's too bright. Oh, it's not working. But they don't look at the histogram. And the histogram is really that output of how much light you've got in your shot, where it's falling, whether or not it's in the highlights or shadows or midtones. So many people rely on the back of their camera to give them correct exposure or correct light. And I think that's a big mistake people make, because those screens on the back of your camera can be adjusted for contrast, brightness, saturation, the whole lot. You can adjust them like a monitor. So it doesn't really, you know, give you that accurate readout as what a histogram would. So they're the 4 things that I try and install in people when we're out doing workshops and stuff like that. Just 4 things to think about with each photo. It doesn't necessarily have to be in that order. But all those things, you know, composition, aperture, time of day, and your light for your histogram, those 4 things, in my experience, will give you a good 9 times out of 10, a good a good platform to get a great shot with. So there you
Spot
go.
on.
So that's a
Spot
pro
on.
tip.
I like it.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much spot on, and it's definitely a process. Maybe I don't, you when you do a lot of photography, you subconsciously go through this stuff, but beginners
Yeah, I think
definitely
so.
need to have
Yeah.
some kind of roadmap towards
Yeah.
what makes so I like to call it the ingredients. It's like making a
Yeah.
cake.
Yeah.
You've got the ingredients to make your cake. Well, if you have too much flour, you have too much sugar, you have too much salt, well, it's going to ruin your cake. It's not going to be quite right.
Yeah.
So your end product, your photo that you're making, is like that. And if you've
Yeah.
got the right amount of ingredients of these things, but you've got to know what these things are.
Yeah.
And that's a very good pointer towards the
Yeah.
different elements that go into making a photo:
Well,
composition, aperture, time of day, and histogram.
I think you're right though as well. Like the shot behind you, like a lot of the elements in that ingredients would have come sort of naturally. Like the composition would have probably just rang out to you straight away with the reflection.
It did.
You would have picked the right aperture, knowing what you wanted to do there. You had the right time of day. It looks like sort of mid morning, early morning, where it's a bit foggy still. And then most likely, just by looking at your histogram or looking at your shot, you could see, okay, well, I haven't lost detail where it's important. I haven't blown the little clouds out or anything like that.
Yep.
So that you're right. When we've done it so many times, it becomes sort of second nature as to what we're looking for.
I have a
And
confession to make, and
oh
and
no,
I know that our listeners will appreciate my honesty here. I'd never use the histogram ever,
oh yeah, well,
and I probably should, because there have been times when I have blown highlights or ruined shadows, thinking I got it right, but I actually didn't, for exactly the reason that you mentioned off the top, and that was relying on the screen to give
yeah,
me what I thought was accurate results, whereas
yeah.
in reality, I'd lost detail there. So I
So
should come on one of your workshops.
yeah, I wouldn't. Like for example, your shot last week. I didn't say anything, but I was thinking it.
Yes,
Now we're being honest. Let's get it all out on the table.
fine.
Um, your shot there, that was had that big bright sun right in the back, sort of left corner of the frame that we could see it, where the
Yes.
sun was coming through. There we go. So I look straight away. My eye draws straight to that lighter
Yep.
sky where it's all blown out,
Yep.
which it is hard to manage that. But with a histogram, I would have looked at that and gone, geez, that's spiking. Knowing that I can get more out of my shadows than I can to rescue my highlights, I probably would have tried to underexpose it by maybe a couple
Yeah.
more stops or something like that.
Yep.
But so that's the things I look for. So a lot of people will use that screen and go, oh yeah, it all looks nice. It all looks pretty cool. The only reason I use my screen these days is to check the composition looks interesting, and
Yep.
that's about it. And to see what settings you got set on there. But the first thing I would have done with that shot is look at that sky and gone, oh, if I bring it down enough, can I still bring the shadows up to get that
Yeah.
beautiful foreground in there? And it's a balance.
Yeah. It was a balance for me in post as well on this one
Yeah.
because, geez, look at that. Look at this image getting a run 2 weeks in a row.
I know.
I'm very happy with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was, and I think what we mentioned last week was the very, very super high contrast, but
Yeah.
also the way the light was moving so fast. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't exactly I couldn't exposure blend, like I couldn't do two different exposures to get this. I really only had one crack at it.
Because the
Um,
clouds would have all moved in that time frame.
exactly right,
Yeah.
and the composition changes, but
Yeah.
the yeah those that there is what you're talking about, and
Yeah.
I debated on literally maybe cloning it out, or I didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
And then I sort of just let it be. I just looked at it and went, well, that's where the bloody sun is, and that's where the
Yeah.
light rays are coming from.
Yeah.
So in this case, I sort of gave myself a pass to
Yeah.
leave it rather than to muck around with it, because when you see it in totality, that image, and you see the way the light's hitting the valley, to
Yeah.
me, my eye gets drawn there,
My
then
my yeah.
then up
My
to the top left.
my eye works from that top left into that valley.
Yep.
If I was going to do something to that shot different than what you've done, I would maybe crop more of that sky out. So
Yep.
even just have it like even whatever that width of sky is, have half of it. So
Yep.
you still get that bright light. That's where the sun's coming from. But I reckon your eye is going to keep coming back to that valley, which is awesome.
Yeah, it was one of those
But
things where, the valley light was the thing that got me,
hmm,
got me most. I'm just actually having a quick look to see if I've got, no, I haven't got another edited one I can chuck up. But and we talked about this last week when I went to town on zooming in on the scene as well to eliminate that. And that was probably in the back of my mind, one of the main reasons was to eliminate that big halo that's hanging around up there.
But sometimes you are right. Like I've had shots as well. Like the shot behind me on the digital version, where that line of bright cloud and dark cloud meet across the top of that frame there. On the digital, I had to do the same thing. I had exactly that sort of light you had. It was just this bar of blown out light. And there's a couple of shots where I looked at it, I'm like, oh, if I do that, I'm going to lose that beautiful foreground light and everything like that. So it is a balance, but I think that's why it's really important that people at least have a look at the histograms to see if there's any spikes on the horizon, on the, the horizontal, what am I talking about? The highlights on the highlight area, because sometimes it can be just a stop or two underexposing.
Yeah, and you've also got the issue in your background there of the light reflecting off the water, and you can see that's the film version, so it's blown highlights on the film version. I would imagine the digital version was the same.
Well, if I can bring it up, if you chat for a second, I'll try and bring it up.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. He says.
No, one thing I was going to say as well was sometimes I will not give up. How can I put this? Like I said before, I'll give myself a pass mark because the reality is when I was looking down this valley, that's how it looked. That's how bright the sky was, because it's reality rather than the ultimate hunt and the continual hunt to get it exactly right. Well, that's how it looked.
Yeah.
I had to squint when I was looking at it, so there you go. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah. So the digital version, I've been able to rescue that.
Yep.
And the reason I've been able to rescue that is because I got 13 or 14 stops of dynamic range in the digital versus 8 or 9 or something in the film. So you got a little bit more of that leeway or that flexibility to play around with it. But just getting back to that histogram, I think it's really important that people understand what the histogram is representing, and we've done episodes on that before. But people need to look at that instead of using their screen. I think just so you don't get back to your computer after captioning this epic scene and go, oh my God, that's all blown out. That amazing light's gone. And
in a nutshell, your histogram is a graphical representation of the light in your scene. And learning how to read one is pretty simple. You've got areas of peaks and troughs, and generally, and there's no hard and fast rule here, but generally speaking, you want to have everything centered towards your midtones, not peaking too much in your shadows, not peaking too much in your highlights. So once you do it a couple of times, you'll understand it. But it is another thing to have to do when you're in the field and when the light's changing really quickly, like it was behind you and like it was in my other shot. And sometimes that just goes by the wayside when I'm,
excited.
when I'm peaking.
Well, another little tip I give people as well, with mainly landscape photography, is I start my exposure at least one stop under all the time. So most times we do a photograph, like everything we've just shown on the screen here, which you can't see when you're listening to in the car, which is why you need to go subscribe to the podcast so you can see these or the show. So one thing you can't see on the screen here, and I've lost exactly what I was going to say then. Damn it.
It's fine. Don't you love it when that happens? That's called a senior moment, Cameron.
That's a senior moment. Oh, it'll come back to me. We're having a really good episode here, aren't we? We've had your dog chew your camera. I can't remember.
Dog ate our home. It'll come back to you.
It'll come back to me.
Maybe it'll come back to you when we debate a little bit more about what's more important, composition or exposure. Shall we revisit that, Canna?
Why are we revisiting this?
Well, because you put up a poll.
Yeah. How is that poll going?
I don't know, but it was about 90-10 when I last checked. So you got a bit of work to do. That's fine.
Yeah.
And the point I want to make here is, so we raised a simple question last week, and it is a simple question. What's more important, composition versus exposure? We left 2 words out of that question. What's more important to you, I think, is really a crucial phrase. Because
you thought about this all day, haven't you?
Literally by saying what's more important made it emotive, right?
Of course it did. Yeah.
Composition versus exposure. We all know that it's composition by 90 to 10, apparently, according to
73% to 27%.
It's still pretty comprehensive victory to composition, but that is just people's opinions. I think,
and they're wrong. That's it.
And if you go back and listen to the episode last week, I grappled with it for a minute. First of all, I went composition, no question. Then you made a couple of valid points.
Right.
And I was happy to take those on board. And I started to think about it. I said, yeah, that's true. But I can't get past the fact that you need to start with the composition.
Yes.
You
Which you got
don't
to,
start with the exposure.
well,
But then that's the question of not what do you start with, it's what's more important.
well, that's exactly right. It's not what you start with, it's what's more important.
Hmm.
So I listened, like I said, we listen to everyone each episode to make sure we haven't said something wrong or offensive or whatever before it goes
God,
out.
don't listen to this week then.
I hope you edit this one properly. So I listened back to the episode last week, and when we spoke about this exposure versus compensation thing, composition thing, the amount of times you mentioned light in that conversation was major.
Yep.
Like you said, light, 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 and it's what it's all about. So
Yep.
no one ever says, "Oh my God, look at that composition! Wow, that's amazing." Everyone looks at it, goes, "Oh my God, look at that light!" It's all about the light. That's what draws people in.
Well, that's
Grabs
by
their eyes.
definition, that's what photography is.
Well, it's drawing with light. So
Yes.
clearly, exposure's got to be more important than composition, because if you don't get the right composition to represent the light you're seeing, then it doesn't matter what your composition is.
I'm very loath to use the phrase "we'll agree to disagree," but this is definitely one of those moments where we have to just agree to disagree, because
yeah, we're not going to find a middle on this,
no,
are we?
we're not. And
No.
and yeah, I mean, I understand your point. I do. I understand your point, but I don't. If I had to rank them in order of importance, it's composition every time.
Yeah, I can't do that.
I think was it Ash Hughes who made a very valid comment
Yeah,
under
but
that thread.
he's a wedding photographer though. What's he know about light and composition?
Oh, them's fighting words. He said composition is the art of photography. I think
Well,
something along those lines.
he
And
did say something like that.
exposure is the science of photography. Now, does that mean one's more important than the other? Probably not. But I would say more people would hold the artistic side of photography in higher regard than the scientific. Science is something that can be, science is something that can be learnt pretty, like you can look at a piece of paper and learn how to set the exposure on your camera without even making a composition. But you can't just walk out and do good compositions. That's something that
No,
comes.
you can't. But composition is really just complementing the light that's there.
I would say exactly the opposite.
You are putting a composition. But you aren't. You're putting a composition around the light that's attractive in the shot.
Isn't it the other way around?
No.
Aren't you finding your composition and then changing the settings on your camera to interpret that light?
No, you're not. You're shooting. You're shooting. For example, you shot in the valley there before. Why didn't you point a bit further left away from that awesome light?
Because that wasn't the important composition.
No, that's because the light was in the composition. The light was the important part.
There
the
was light everywhere.
But you chose that valley with the light in it.
I chose that valley with a light in it. I chose the second valley with a light. I zoomed in. I zoomed out. I got like 400 frames, different compositions.
Yep.
Under that very same, and the light never changed. In terms of my exposure settings, it didn't change for 10 minutes.
No.
Whereas the composition certainly did. So what's more important there?
Well, the one that you put up on the screen, which has the best light in it.
One that I put up on the screen. I
because it has because you've exposed that the best to the light that was amazing. This amazing light in there.
No, I composed it the best.
We are going to agree to disagree. I think, to me, the first thing I look for is the light, and then I look for the composition to complement that light that's there.
The light falling on what?
On anything, doesn't matter what it is.
It's the light falling on the, you can say it,
on the landscape
composition.
No, but it's not on the composition. It's not on the composition. It's on the scene. The composition is just, the arty bit of it. Like Ash said, it's the arty bit of the shot, but it's not the important part of the shot. If you don't get the light exposed correctly, like I said, you can have the best composition in the world. It's still going to look like a pile of shit.
Yeah.
Yep. That's your. Yep.
Yep. Okay. No, we've agreed to disagree on it, and
I've just remembered what I was saying prior to this. Before.
Yeah, I knew it'd come back to you.
Can we put a thing? I was just saying that I start stuff one stop under to expose for the sky, because the majority of the shots we take in landscape in our compositions have a sky and a lake or something that's bright, and we don't want to blow out those highlights, because the highlights are super important to creating that magical light that we see there. So, it's we for example, your shot, we looked at those highlights that are blown up in the top left hand corner. Like that's the first thing that drew my eye to that shot. not necessarily the composition. It was all about, oh, okay, there. And then, I worked my way through the scene, went, oh, that's really cool. There's some beautiful elements all the way through this. But the first thing we see is light. We don't, then we see the composition that's framing it up. So
Well, without light, we don't see.
that's right. So without light, you don't have a photograph. So it's clearly more important.
Yeah, which doesn't necessarily mean that the exposure is more important.
Right. Yeah. I think you've got a different definition of exposure than I do.
Maybe. Yeah.
Anywho,
very good. Anyway, we love seeing your comments about that, because it was just interesting. And I think, as I said, look, off the top, we were emotive about it, and we asked what's more important. And it's not necessarily what's more important. It might be what you look for more. Clearly what Cam looks for more, or what I look for more. And there is no right answer really, except composition. But it's a very emotive thing, apparently. And I didn't think it would be, but all of a sudden this came up. So keep commenting. Let us know your thoughts. It's fascinating what people think about that. I love it.
I could go on for days about this topic.
We have a very, very, speaking of going on for days about a topic, the Dear Cam segment could very well do that as well. It's interesting, this little message from our friend in Myrtleford Mal. And it's good to have a Dear Cam back. We haven't had one for a few weeks.
Yeah, it's good. You know why? Because people are sick of me crapping on about being right.
Exactly. Dear Cam, I decided the other day I would go right through the menu options to ensure I had everything set correctly on my Olympus OM1. In brackets, parentheses, I do understand that correctly will depend entirely on what is being photographed. That is right. Pretty much immediately, I discovered there is little to no explanation of the effects of changing most options. Do you know of any resources that might be able to help me? So I think what Mel's saying there is, sure, it tells you how to change them, but it doesn't explain what happens when you change it, which was quite interesting. And part of me, the first thing I thought, my knee-jerk reaction, because I have those, was, well, just do it and see. Like, be out in the field and just do it and go through your menu like that.
Yeah.
But he's right, because, it could be, it might be at night, you might be home, you just bought a camera.
Yeah.
You want to know what these different changes to settings do. Cam, can you help Mel H of Myrtleford? Thanks for joining the channel, Mel.
Does he subscribe?
You've got to stop that.
I'm only doing. Do I have an answer? Well, yeah, there's definitely resources out there. Obviously, the first resource might be a manual, but again, it probably won't go into too much depth as to what each adjustment will do to your menu. There is a lot of resources on where we are on YouTube. OM Systems do a lot of tutorial, especially the UK version of OM Systems. They seem to be quite active.
Yes.
They do a lot of different menu setups and how to get your stuff set up for X, Y, and Z. So they'd be the things I'd be looking at, mostly just the manual and some online help.
Well, I did a little bit of digging, and I went straight to Olympus AU, or whatever they're called now, their website. And I was pleasantly surprised, actually, by the number of resources that I found. Not just the manual, which is handy to have, because they don't give you a printed manual these days. Right. You've got to go online and check it all out. A manual that you can, with an index, so you can skip to the parts that you want to look at, which was very, very good. But they also then had some videos and stuff of in the field of making these changes.
Right.
In particular, things like their computational photography, like built-in ND, built-in grad, that sort of stuff, which was pretty cool. But I hear what you're saying, Mel, insofar as, this shows you what to do. It doesn't tell you what it does. And I think part of that comes back to using your gear and just getting out there and suck it and see. Quite often you'll be stood there waiting for the light. So why not play around with a few settings on your camera?
You mean waiting for the composition?
You don't wait for compositions; they just happen in front of you.
Anyway, I would say also what's important about this, and I think you're right as well. Like just sitting on the couch playing around with it, like it's really good to know where the things in your menu are as well. Not necessarily what they do; that comes with time, I guess, but there's a lot of times where you say, okay, everyone, guys, let's turn on exposure bracketing. Let's do some bracketing, and the people go, "Oh, how do I do that? What menu do I go in to do this?" Or let's change our autofocus onto subject detection or something like that. So I think it's good to play around with it and practice where it's safe, I guess, where you're not out trying to get the $1 million shots, but when you're at home and you can go around the backyard fluffing around taking shots or on your daily walk. So I think it's good to know where your menu system is and what's in it and how to get to certain things. I found the menus have become a lot easier as well. Like they're broken up in autofocus, they're broken up to settings, they're broken up to exposure, video, playback settings. So there's a few, they're pretty consistent all the way through the brand. So I guess one of the hardest things is knowing where to look on your menus. That's where, like you said,
Yeah,
playing around with it can help.
absolutely. And this Mel happens to be an Olympus shooter, but if you're a Nikon, a Sony, a Canon, a Panasonic, a Fuji, a Pentax, did I leave anyone out?
A Leica.
A Leica, a Manfrotto,
Yeah,
Manfrotto.
phase one.
They make tripods.
You know what they are? Do you know what they are making?
A camera.
Batteries.
Manfrotto.
Manfrotto are making camera batteries now.
It's exciting. All the menu systems on these cameras will have, exactly like Cam said, sections that you can go into.
Yeah.
There is no substitute for the hard work of actually learning. I mean, even if there was a menu or an instruction manual that told you exactly what each of those changes does, you're not going to learn it all. It's infinite. Right. Like there are so many ways to change the look and feel of an image.
Well, I think on the Olympus camera, like just in the autofocus, there's 7 pages of autofocus settings.
It's truth.
Yeah, so it is a lot. It's
a lot to take in, but and like I say ad nauseum on my workshops, you want to be better at your photography, use your gear and use it all the time to the point where, you can almost do it blindfolded. Pick up a camera. This is my ISO. This is where I change my autofocus. This is how I change aperture. This is how I change shutter. This is all that sort of stuff. Even how many clicks around from program is manual. How many, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And just knowing it.
I would put it down that, knowing your camera is more important than getting a good composition.
Yeah. Well, I think knowing your camera, particularly when you've got a new camera, is really important just to save frustration when you're in the field.
For us or them.
Well, that's right.
I will say one thing. If you do use a Nikon, please take the time to learn how to use their menu. I still to this day really struggle with Nikon menus. I don't know what it is. They're just a little bit off center from everyone else. Like, the Canon, the Sony, the Olympuses, the Leicas.
Which is funny because I've always thought that about Sony. So
yeah, I just Nikons are one of those ones.
And to be honest, I actually thought that a lot about Olympus when I
yeah, right. Okay.
I thought they were a bit, no, but it's just their.
That's what you used
like
to
I call Nikon logic or Canon logic, or it's their way that or Apple logic for that matter. I mean, it's funny because I'd put the question to Mel, like, you probably know more about your phone than you do about your camera.
Yeah, that's right.
Because we use our bloody phones all the time. And it's the same thing. If you use your camera all the time, then you're going to become proficient in how to change things. And moreover, I think also the question comes is, not just where the things are and what they do, but it's when to use them. That's crucial as well. I mean, we've been on workshops, I know, Cam, when someone has said, "Oh, I'm using this mode," and we're just like, "Why?" Oh, well, because it's there. No.
I just want to see what it does.
Well, yeah, which is cool too, but not right in the middle of an awesome sunset or a lightning storm or something.
Yeah. I just thought I'd try manual for the first time.
Yes, that's right, for the first time
ever. Quick shout out. Speaking of Olympus and speaking of Apple and speaking of menus, to Aaron, Rep Aaron for Olympus. I've been trying to update my OM1 to the new firmware for the last week.
New firmware.
Yeah, there is a new firmware up to date, and we spoke about that a couple of episodes ago. And I'm like, oh, I better do that. I better practice what I preach. And I go in there, I'm like, all right, cook it up. So one, it wouldn't update the software via the app, the firmware. I'm like, well, that's crap. And then I tried to do it through a computer, and Apple said, sorry, this is a external supplier of software. It can't be used. I had to reset the settings through some startup thing, and it became a real nightmare. But I reached out to Aaron today and he said, look, try these steps, do this, do that. And it worked straight away. So thank you, Aaron.
Nice work, Aaron. Give yourself a pay rise.
I'm going to have to give him a beer at BFOP now. So now I've gone from version 1 firmware to 1.7.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you hadn't done a firmware upgrade.
Well, this is the funny thing. When I was doing that work for OM Systems, They gave me an OM1. I had an OM1. They gave me another one to say sort of thanks for what's going on. But then at the end, I returned a lot of the gear as I said I would. But I gave them my one back, and
Whoops.
I kept that one. So my one had been up to date firmware, but
You
this
had the old
one
one.
I had the old one that had never been updated. So when I turned it on, I'm like, I could have swore I've done this before, but no. So yeah, there you
There
go.
you
So
go.
hopefully that helps Mel H from Myrtle Food.
Yep. Thanks for being a part of the show, Mel. We appreciate your patronage. New segment.
All right.
Photography news. So we used to have this segment called Gear Talk, but that got
No,
boring. But I thought we'd have, because
got
with
boring.
photography, there's always news in the world of photography, and this one came across my desk earlier today, which I really like. This is something really cool. There's a company in Sydney, I believe they're called Sydney Photo Workshops, which is, how
That's
did
a
they come
rip-off.
up with that? I have no idea.
Worst name ever.
But they're offering photography workshops on the Sydney Harbour Bridge climb. Now, that is superb. It's so unique. And I think what's changed is, if you did the bridge climb, you couldn't take a camera. You weren't allowed to.
Right.
Because they were obviously worried about cameras falling onto a motorway below or into the harbour or whatever. So
that's surely going to cause problems if it happens.
that's right. But now they've obviously come up with a way to tether your camera or something like that, I would well imagine.
Right.
I thought that was really, really cool. They're not sponsored. We're just giving them a shout out for doing something a little unique.
Funnily enough, the picture they got to promote, it's also got a tripod attached to the camera.
Goodness me, I bet you I can't. Well, maybe I can. Well, are they doing? I'm assuming they're doing low light, like sunrise, sunset.
This looks
Imagine
like it's
a night
sunrise.
shoot off there. That'd be sick.
Imagine a New Year's Eve off there.
Don't think you'd be allowed to. But that livered Sydney, where they light up the Opera House and all that, that'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So well done on offering something unique.
And they are going to the top. Oh yeah, top.
Yes.
The Sydney. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, the top of the southeast pylon. So it's not. Is it maybe not the top of the bridge?
Not sure.
But it might be the two little bits at the end,
which would still be very cool.
That's very cool.
You'd have an awesome view back towards the city, depending on which side you're on.
Yeah.
Lots of cool stuff to photograph there. Sydney Harbour is absolutely stunning and incredibly photogenic.
I've been there Sydney last couple of times this year, and I've gone down around Circular Quay and stuff like that. And it's just been the middle of the day, and I've been so tempted to go, oh, maybe I'll just push my flight back a day or something, and just because it just screams of awesome shots down there.
There's just compositions everywhere. I love it. It's awesome. Cameron, do we have any beer donations this week?
We do. That same guy from Myrtleford keeps sending us beer. I think he's got a problem. Jenny C sent us some beer.
Thank you, Jenny.
A new donator to this week.
Awesome.
B Wayitis. B Waits. That's you. Why did you buy us a beer? You bought us a slab of beer.
So I can get a shout out.
You want a shout out on your own show?
I just got one.
Okay, thanks, Brendan Waits. That was fantastic to send us a slab
of beer.
A whole slab of beer, which you're drinking up there, which is great. And we had one of the first.
This is really cool.
This is very cool. Someone actually parted with their hard earned and bought a whole heap of merchandise from us. So a stubby holder, a mouse pad, and a Down South Photo Show T-shirt. Awesome. Susan N. I won't say her whole name. She might get embarrassed. I don't know.
Thank you, Susan.
And also a jug of beer as well. So
holy smokes.
Yeah, she added a beer on the bottom of it as well, which is awesome. So thank you, Susan. Susan has been on workshops before, so she didn't do this blindfolded. She knew what she was getting into.
She certainly did.
But we do have merch. So we have stubby holders, mouse pads, we have hats, we have T-shirts, hoodies. If you're coming to BFOP, the Bright Festival of Photography, in the second weekend of October,
correct,
buy your merchandise beforehand. We can deliver it to you at BFOP so you can wear it to BFOP.
There's an idea.
Free delivery. I'll bring it up with me somehow.
It's lucky I've got a van.
Even I'll be
full.
Even I'll be in Scotland a couple of days before, but we'll make it happen.
This has got a problem for future Brendan written all over it.
Yes. And any complaints can be sent through to Brendan at cameronphoto.com.au.
That's right. Exactly. That's right.
But I thank you for the beers and the merchandise as well. That's really cool.
Very cool. And I don't know, we may have one or two bits of merchandise to sell up at BFOP, but we'll work on that. By all means, if you are going to BFOP, we talk about BFOP ad nauseum, but we're excited by it. It's a great weekend. It's good fun. Come up and say g'day. Tell us what you
No.
like about the show. We might even buy you a beer.
We're drinking, aren't we? I'm actually really, I'm really worried that you and I are not even going to see each other on this BFOP.
Well, given that your workshop gets back at 9, as mine does, on both the Friday and Saturday nights, yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Do mine get back at 9 o'clock? Do they?
Tell me you know this.
I know, no.
You start at 5 and you finish. You're doing sunset up at Buffalo, are you not?
I don't know.
Anyway, yours apparently get back at 9 o'clock at the same time as mine. Now, whether or not that was done on purpose to keep Australia's #1 ranked photography podcast out of the BFOP
I'm just looking at it now. Yeah, the Friday night I'm back at 9. I'm on the same bloody bus as Tom Putt. Shit. Jesus. Why do they do it to?
And then last year.
And then I'm on the same bloody bus again the next night at 9 o'clock.
I know.
They clearly just don't want us on stage.
That's fine too. I don't blame them.
Well, but yeah, so that's just showing their.
Have you heard how we carry on, Cameron?
Have you heard of how they carry on?
BFOP is yes, it's awesome. Very cool.
Really, so Saturday night is
no, it's going to be Sunday. Is going to be our day.
Yeah, but I've got something on Sunday morning.
Oh.
9 a.m. Jesus.
Oh, ouch! Oh, that's going to be a tough one. Don't book that one, anyone.
have a look at this for a running sheet for Saturday night.
Okay.
There is 3 people getting back to the BFOP Shenanigans tent at the same time.
Yes.
There is you.
Yes.
There's 4 actually. There's you. There's me. There's Tom Putt and Glenn Lavender. We are all getting back to the tent at the same time.
Now that is a spa that I want to be in.
How out of control at 9:01 on the Saturday night and probably the Friday night as well. Yep, the same Friday. They've kept us all apart until 9 o'clock.
That is definitely on purpose.
They're going to pay the price for that. I'm going to make sure.
I'll be asleep.
I'll be on Scotland time, so I'll be fine.
You will be really tired.
Yes. Anyway,
well, Cameron, you're off to the Tarkine apparently.
Apparently, maybe.
Do you have to?
Well, I've been told I shouldn't by Tas Parks and Wildlife. I don't know if I should say that on there. They suggested we don't go up to the West Coast after all the weather we've had here. But then I've spoken to all our providers up there and stakeholders, for lack of a better word. And they're like, no, everything's open. It's all good. All the roads are clear. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it. So I'm going local. We'll obviously be super safe. We won't be going where if there is any damage or people doing works. But yeah, we're off to the Tarkine as this comes out on our way up on the Friday.
Fantastic. I expect this to be on in the car.
Yeah, you know what? I don't like listening to it in the car with customers.
Too cringy?
I find it a bit cringy. Others don't. 5-star Dan puts it on as a joke. He thinks it's hilarious.
Well, that's only because he gets a shout out.
Oh, yeah. Hello, 5-star Dan. He's down here tomorrow.
5-star.
I've got beer in the fridge. Yep, that's okay. All good.
You won't have for long.
What about yourself? What are you up to? You making rectangles?
Yeah, we're back to business as usual. I've got a couple of boring weeks through September. When I say boring, running Ocean Grove camera and photo, so run-of-the-mill kind of weeks. No, I might try and sneak out. I am actually playing golf on Friday, so that's one thing. But
did you play golf last week?
No, that's this coming. So
that's this one, right? Yeah,
this coming Friday, and I think I might head out. Now we had some incredibly, as all of Southeast Australia did, we had some incredibly wild weather over the last few days. And can I just look? No one listens this far, so I'm going to rant. I know it's right at the end, but
this is going to have a time code.
Parks Victoria. That's not a rant against Parks. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It's a praising of Parks Victoria.
Right.
Parks Victoria went and closed the jetty at Point Lonsdale. You'd be familiar with the jetty at Point Lonsdale.
Yes, I am. Yes.
Now, when we were there in summer, and I mentioned to several people that waves wash over the end of that jetty, I think more than 1 or 2 of them didn't believe me.
A few of them went, as if. Yeah.
I mean, they're looking at it going, over that. Look how high it is. That's ridiculous. Parks Victoria, a few days ago, realised with the big swell and all the wind that there would be some huge waves coming through there. They went down, they put a chain rope across the end of the jetty and put a sign, jetty closed. They then had to send a ranger down to walk out, risk his own life, walk out on that jetty to clear idiots off the jetty that were out there taking photos, taking selfies. There was footage of a couple walking out with coffee, just taking a coffee, walking over the rope and walking out with their coffee, just completely ignoring. Anyway, while the Parks Victoria Ranger was at the end of the jetty, what do you know? A rogue wave came up and completely went over the end of the jetty. And it was incredibly dangerous. He nearly got washed off the end of the jetty because he was trying to tell morons to get off the jetty that was already closed. It really rubbed me the wrong way. That's just awful.
You should live down here.
No, I couldn't.
Hold my beer. Hold my beer.
Yeah, Tassie says, "Hold my beer." And it's just. Oh
So,
my God, people.
No one listens this far, so I'm going to have a rant. So, so we had down here, we had peaking gusts of 188 kilometers an hour on the mountains here. That's Category 3 cyclone winds.
That's crazy.
Mount Wellington has been closed up until today, been closed for almost a week. It was getting consistently over 160 kilometer winds at the top there. Night before last, and we've had flooding everywhere around the state. So all the emergency services are stretched to nth degree. A couple of nights ago, there was a rescue call from the top of Mount Wellington for 13 people that went hiking up to the top of the mountain. The whole road's closed. You've got to hike up to the top to it with children involved as well. They had kids there as well. There is, if you ever want to have a look after, I'll show you that there's footage of the rescue people up on the mountain. They can't walk. It's that windy. It is absolutely just iced. It's blizzard. It's paralytic blizzard. And these people are up on the mountain, 13 people. And when they're up there, they found 5 other people who were lost that hadn't called for help, just out of chance. So they had 18 people to bring back down the mountain.
The Darwin Awards are alive and well.
But I know, like Ricky Gervais has a good point. He said, "Stop taking the warning labels off bleach."
Correct.
Just let people drink it. Let them perish. Let them go.
Yeah.
The world may become a better place. It may not. Look at us. We're killing off the population here at the end of the show.
Let's just thin the herd while we're at it. Sure.
But people are like, I get it too. Like, that jetty is awesome. That would be a cracking shot to get, but you wouldn't want to be out there.
No, get it from the land with your long lens.
That's right. And okay, you want to walk up the mountain and check some snow out. That's great. But when you can't walk because you're getting blown over, then it's a pretty good indication that, hey, this shit's a bit out of control. Maybe we'll turn back. That's crazy. Anyway, I got chewed out online because I put up a smart ass comment saying, just imagine there was a cable car up there to take him down.
Oh
boy,
the authorities must just tear their hair out. Or do they not? Are they just that used to it now? They're just like, well, this is going to happen. There goes my weekend ruined while I'm up looking for some lost hikers.
Look, I must admit, like I've been involved with the Westpac helicopter a few times. And I've spoken to that team. They do lots and lots of rescues. And without a shadow of a doubt, they love their job. Like they love the adrenaline, they love the adventure of it, all that kind of stuff. So I don't think they get too shitty about it, but I can understand the frustration if half the state's flooding and there's, people needing other help without power and all that kind of stuff. And you've got to divert people from there to get idiots off a mountain. I get that. So yeah, it's disappointing. People,
it's frustrating.
Yeah. If you were on the jetty or if you're on top of the mountain, you can unsubscribe from the show. Do not give a shit. Go.
That's right. Yeah. You're no good. You don't belong here.
No.
All right. All said and done, Mr. Blake, after that couple of little rants at the end.
That's been a wild episode, that is.
It's been definitely in the top 135, that's for sure. This has been episode 135 of the Down South Photo Show. Thank you for joining us. That's it. That's the podcast. Anything else to add, Cameron? No?
Don't forget.
Look like you're going to say something.
Don't forget to edit your swearing out and the beating up of the dog and the throwing of the computer and all that kind of stuff. Just make sure you edit that out.
Yeah. No. You know what I'll do? If you've listened this far, you're in for a treat.
You got to put it at the end, don't you?
I'm going to tack it on the end.
No, you won't. You won't tack it.
Just quietly. I'm just going to tack it there and just see if anyone picks up on it. Thanks, folks. We may see you for now. Are you back for next week's episode, or are you still?
Yeah, I'll be around. Yeah, I'll back. Gee, I'm back on September 11.
We will see you for episode 136 next week. Bye for now.
Toodaloo.
Toodaloo. Jesus. What the hell? Buddy. Why the hell is that not connecting?
What's he done?
I don't know.
Oh dear.
He's just disconnected my camera.
That's a pretty good effort.
Surely you can, hang on. I've got the right. Oh, that's going up and into there. And into there. Oh, we might have to restart.
Oh no.
Hang on. That did. Now we have to restart. I've sworn. Okay.
Okay. So that goes in there, yes, and then
Yeah.
and that goes in there. Is there an on-off button?
Everything looks right. Oh, buddy. Why have you killed my camera? Hang on.
The thing is, I can't see what you're doing. It sounds great though.
Yeah, I might have to restart my PC. It's just not coming.
We're still recording now. That's the main thing.
It's all plugged in, and it's.
Do you have to go back into your Zoom settings and change it back to the webcam or something?
Possibly. Hang on.
Please hold.
Yeah. Hey. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, buddy.
You tool. Now go over there. If you do that again,
you're in a hot dog.
Should we cut it or should we start it again?
I think we should just cut it. I think we just keep going because that's. I think the last thing we spoke about was needing another week, and not like we were arguing for 15 minutes.